Hello friends, welcome in, welcome. Welcome to today's event. It's been a really fun event so far. Hopefully you've been able to follow along with all of the wonderful creators. Up after me is a Dusty Granny Creations by Wendy. So please make sure that you watch her, and she will be closing us out. And I am super excited because everybody's done, you know, a little bit here or there. I am wearing my lucky shirt. But you know, today's event was a lucky green dress, and there was essentially 3 themes here. So lucky, St. Patrick's Day, green, anything green, or dress, because in the month of March we celebrate National Dress Day. And so I wanted to give everybody options. So if you followed along with my events, you have realized that usually the first event that we have is a themed event, and then the second event of the month is a crafter's choice. Both, you still have to use paper, some form or fashion, whether it is you decoupage it in the background, whether you're adding a tag to something, or you're covering something with paper, whatever it is. And then don't forget that paper can be napkins, can be tissue paper, can be printables, can be you know, book pages. I mean, so many things, right? So welcome in everybody. Hello. Hey there, Miss Sheila, Miss Grace, Marcy. I saw that you changed your page. I was like, who's this? After you went live. So it was a little confusing, but I do like your new name. Miss Yadi and Mary. Hello there, Miss Yvonne. Thank you everybody so much for popping in. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, it's been fun. Again, if you would like to be part of these events, just let me know, and I will gladly get you added in where you need to be. I'm still trying to get myself all shared and all the things, right? So and then FB has been really special today. So if you guys have had issues with it, I am so sorry. You know, what can I tell you? FB is FB. And from what I've heard, it's mostly for Android users, but I don't know. I've noticed that if I try to share into the group and other groups at the same time, it won't post it for whatever reason. Go figure. So I have to do each individual group by itself, which does take a little bit longer than I'm used to. But again, it's been a fun day, fun event, and I am just blessed to have each and every one of you here. All right, let me get my camera this way. Thank you for spreading those blessings and all the things. I do appreciate it very much. All right. We are going to, alright, so I have this craft that I did a while back, and I'm gonna repurpose it. So we're going to and then don't forget that next week is our Just Journaling Around event on the 11th and the 12th. So I hope that y'all will come and join us and watch 2 days of awesome events. Okay, so this is what's on the inside, and I'm gonna leave it as is. Okay, we're going to work on this side so that it can be reversible. Alright, so we're going to start by removing this right here, because obviously this is not going to do us any good. Hey there, Miss Amy. I absolutely love what you were working with. I've bought a bunch of templates, you know, on Etsy. And I would love to figure out how to use Creative Fabrica, because if I can pay the thing for 1 year and be able to continue creating more templates, that'll be a lot more cost effective than continuously buying templates and things from Etsy. So, hey there, Miss Sherry. Thank you for sharing me out, my dear. I loved how you got us started. And today was, like I said, it's been a really good day. It's been a nice day. Where did my sander go? Here it is. So I'm going to sand this down just because I need this to be flat. There we go. Alright, and let me show you what it is that I'm working with. So I have this is a scrapbook piece of paper, and I love the little crowns on it. And then this is an image that I found and I printed off, and I'm going to fussy cut it, and we're going to add it on here, and then we're going to you know, add some cute things to it. So that's what we're going to be working on. And like I said, we're going to be doing it on this, leaving it as is, so that, you know, you can have 2 different images on there. Miss Sheila, I think I saw that you were live earlier. How you doing, dear? Thank you for popping in and for supporting. I do appreciate that. Okay. So, let's get my homemade Mod Podge. And all it is Elmer school glue, watered down. I'm actually going to add a little bit more Elmer school glue to this. Oh, well then why was it popping up saying that you were live? See, it's been, I don't know, it's been weird. When they tell you not to trust what you see on the internet. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Like I said, I don't know what's been going on today with our platform here on FB, but it is what it is, right? I am thankful for the platform because I get to create and share with y'all and just have fun. I've made some wonderful, amazing friends through the platform, but it definitely has its kinks. So hey there, Miss Linda. Thank you for the sprinkle, my friend. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys popping in. Hopefully, maybe you guys have already had some dinner. While Miss Yachty was doing her portion, I made an omelet for me and my daughter, and so we were eating. That's why I was a little on the quiet side. Tell you about the cruise. Yes, of course. I will gladly do that. So, the first cruise that we did, because I did 2 cruises back to back. The first one I did with hubby. And that one was a lot of fun. We went with Norwegian, which we'd never gone with before. I've always gone with Carnival. And it was really nice. I love the ship. Food was great. Entertainment was fun. It was a very different... It was definitely a very different vibe from Carnival. Carnival is known as the party ship, and Norwegian is just a little more upscale from that. Not as many kids, so it was really nice and quiet, which was good, because sometimes too much of the noise and stuff messes with my sensory overload, and with Gary's hearing. So it was actually a nice change of pace for us. We got to go to Belize, Honduras. For both of those, it was islands. So in Honduras, it was Roatan, which is the island, wasn't the mainland of Honduras. But it was so much fun. We almost came home with a cat. If we could have snuck her on the cruise, we would have. She was so pretty. She was pregnant, and we just felt so bad for her. Like I said, we would have brought her home. So this has absorbed all of my glue, and it's not wanting to stick. So I'm going to have to redo this. It is, we were really impressed with it. So that's like what Gary wants to do. He wants to do Norwegian. He does want to try MSC, only because we were supposed to go on an MSC cruise, and we didn't. So he does want to still try them out, which I agree with. So that way we can say that we've tried them. We both enjoyed going to Roatan a lot, because from the moment you get off, you're right there with the locals, and you know, seeing how they live, and you know, it reminded him a lot of Costa Rica. So in a sense, it was a little bit like home for me, which I really did like. Hey, Miss Deb, how are you doing? So that was a blast. We we went in Honduras. We went to they had an institute there where they teach how to do cameos from the conch shell. So we got to see engravings, which was really cool. Really, I looked up and saw cruise and said cruise. It was really cool. That's where we saw the kitty cat. She was lying on the tile trying to stay cool because it was hot. And like I said, poor thing, she was so pregnant. And they don't have vets on the island, because we were like, why hasn't anybody, like, you know, because they're like, yeah, it's her 4th litter. I'm like, she's so small, she's so young, why, you know. And they were like, yeah, there's no vets on the island, so until somebody comes from the mainland to operate her, I mean, and I'm like, dang. I'm like, oh no. It's like, if we could bring her home, we would. But you can't sneak a cat on a cruise ship. Like I said, if not, she would have come home. But that was a lot of fun. We did go to a chocolate factory, bought chocolate, and they had chocolate tea. So you know me, I love tea, so I brought some of that home. Yes, so their island is a cruise destination. Roatan, the island, is a cruise destination. And that is to this day the furthest south that we have been in a cruise ship. That's the furthest south that we've been on a cruise ship, which was a lot of fun. Belize was a private island, and you could go to the mainland, but we missed the ferry, and we didn't want a chance waiting for the later one and then not make it back in time. So we just did some shopping and then got back on the ship. So, but we definitely said the next time we're gonna make sure we go to the mainland on Belize, because that was, we like to see where the locals live and things like that. That's what we love to experience when we go cruising. So we walk off the beaten path per se, but it was really nice. We enjoyed it a lot, for sure. So this is not 100% straight, but oh well, it'll be alright. I don't want to play with this scrapbook paper too much and then I tear it, so I'm just going to leave it. Hey there, Miss Susan, how are you? So Belize, like I said, was a private island right off of the mainland, but we, like I said, we missed getting off, and I didn't want to risk missing our cruise. So just bought some local jams and spices and brought those home. So, and then after that we went to Mexico and we did Costa Maya. Hello there, Miss Wendy. We went to Costa Maya, and in Costa Maya we went to see some Mayan ruins. It was our first ever seeing some Mayan ruins, and it was a blast. Gary didn't do too well. He kind of got a little motion sickness with the bus ride, but it was a lot of fun once we got out and started walking around and looking at everything. It was actually really cool because we saw where they had scanned the platforms, and there were like skeletons under them, so evidently there were people buried there. And just learning the history of how the Mayans would build the temples and stuff was really, really cool. And so there was the place we went to, something. There was a temple for the sun god and a temple for the moon god, and they were both faced in opposite directions because the sun followed the trajectory of, you know, the sun rising, the sun setting, and the moon was in the opposite direction. And I was like, that was actually pretty neat if you think about how smart these people were, you know. Our ancestors were so smart, and we're so dumbed down by technology. I'm just gonna say it. That's, you know, we want AI to do everything for us. We don't want to think anymore. They didn't have none of that, and they were so smart, you know. But, and like every level was like for years, and just, it was really cool. Like, I'd learned about Mayan history and culture in school, but you know, it's very different when you learn about it in a textbook and then you actually see some of it, you know. So I really like that. Hello there, Miss Jamie, welcome in. Thank you for popping in and for joining. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, they were so smart. I mean, you look at, you know, you look at the Egyptians with their pyramids and how they built them. You look at the Babylonians. You look at, you know, the Romans. I mean, it's just, yeah. It's amazing. And we're like just here. You know, we're just here. So that was a lot of fun. And then Cozumel, we've been to Cozumel multiple times because that tends to be like one of the main ones that they always tend to have. So we just got off to pretty much just stretch our legs and walk around a little bit, and then came back on the ship. Really, like I said, didn't take that long, but it was a lot of fun. And then we got back, and I stayed in Florida. I stayed in Miami. Hubby came home, and I turned around and got right on a cruise ship that same morning, because they let me get on earlier than my time. And it was a cruise. It was a crafting cruise. It was actually being hosted by Grace from the Comfy Nest, if anybody follows her. And she had some special guests. She had Donna from the Twisted Paper Studio. She does a lot of tutorials and on YouTube, and she also does in-person workshops. So that it was really cool. And Chris Hunter from Creating with Chris Hunter. You got to meet her, along with Miss Dana from Dana Designs, I think is the name of her page. I might be wrong. But they're all ladies that I followed. I followed them for a while, so it was a lot of fun to actually be able to say hi to them and meet them. But more than the influencers, I had so much fun meeting the ladies that I got to craft with. And that was on a Royal Caribbean cruise line, which I'd never been on. And I might give them another try, but I was not very impressed, at least not with that ship. There was always issues with temperature. So now I'm gonna fussy cut my little fairy in her green dress. Designs by Dina. Thank you, Miss Jamie. I knew it was something like that. I just had it in the wrong order. And got to meet her husband, Kenny, which was also really nice. That was super sweet. So I had a lot of fun being able to meet them. But the ladies that I was able to connect with was super fun. I got to in person meet Miss Wendy, who we've been friends now for a bit off of Facebook and on whatnot. And she was actually who was like, hey, I want to do this crafting cruise and I need a room buddy. Would you be up to it? And I was like, okay, tell me about it. When is it? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, let's do that. So it was nice to be able to meet her in person, and got to meet so many other lovely ladies and hang out with them. It was just a blast. We did a sea-themed journal, and I'm not finished with it, but I do need to pull it out and show you ladies what we were working on. And I just had so much fun, you know, sitting at the table on our sea days and crafting together, or finding time and finding you know, an empty table somewhere and just pulling our stuff out and creating together. It was a blast. I really enjoyed it, to say, you know, to say the least. I really, really did enjoy it. But we had a blast. It was, like I said, the people were amazing. The staff was really nice. Like I said, I think it might be the boat. There's just some issues, and we'll say it's that. And me and Miss Wendy have been talking about hosting events together. So as most of you know, I have an Oklahoma event, which we literally have one spot left, and if my beautiful Carla will confirm, if she can come, we will be full. So I am super excited for that, and I'm hosting that in Oklahoma. But me and Miss Wendy had already been talking about hosting an event, which we have one planned for October in Pennsylvania. And I was like, hey, you know, even before she had asked me about going on a cruise, I was like, hey, what do you think about, you know, maybe doing like a craft cruise? Because I love to cruise, y'all. Okay? I love it. Alright? I love cruising. That's just, you know, I always felt like you got a lot of bang for your buck. You get to see places, and honestly, if I could travel all the time, I would. So we had been talking about it, and when she found the opportunity to go with Grace, I was like, oh, this will be great, because we'll get a chance to, like, kind of get our feet wet and figure out, you know, what it's like. So we're working on that. It is coming. What I can tell you is that we will be going out of Louisiana for our first cruise. It'll be the beginning of next year. By beginning, I mean like March, April type thing. Within the first quarter, how about that? So we're working on that. And I'm excited. Hubby was the one who proposed doing Louisiana, New Orleans, because it's close enough that I can still drive to it with him, and that way he can come and help. Because any further than that, and he wouldn't be able to come just because of time constraints. So I'm excited for that. So that'll be coming. That'll be coming as soon as I have the information nailed down on everything. You will be seeing it popping up, posts about it on my page, so definitely stay tuned for that. We're gonna start getting a list of events for next year, both land and sea. Like I said, we'll have those. I've had lots of friends ask me, oh, can you come up north? So that's why we're going to Pennsylvania. Plus that is where Miss Wendy lives. So I was like, okay, I'll come to your state. I do want to host something in Georgia, so I'm looking at that as well. So we shall see how it all goes. But I'm excited for this new part of my crafty adventure, and being able to bring you know, the love of travel along with my love of crafting, and being able to hang out with all my friends and like merge those two together. So I'm excited about that. Come to Florida. I plan to. And we plan to go, we're looking also at doing a cruise out of California for anybody who's out on the West Coast. So, be doing different things. That's for sure. And like I said, depending on where it is, hubby will be able to use his vacation time and come with us and help. If not, it'll be just me and Miss Wendy, which will be fine, because we'll have all of y'all amazing ladies there. And believe me, everybody pitches in, because I saw that. I mean, we just, you know, we all have this natural affinity for wanting to help. I mean, I see it with, like, in events whenever somebody is, like, needs a fill-in and stuff. So we naturally want to help each other out. So even if he can't come to help, I know that it's not like I'm gonna be stranded, because I know, you know, I'll have all of y'all to help out too. But I'm so excited for this new part. I know it's hard. Budgeting this stuff is hard, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to work on stuff for next year now, so that I can get all of that information out, so that people can budget things like, you know, joining a retreat and stuff into their budget. Because believe me, I know. I mean, I have to budget as well, so I get it. You know, I don't have your typical income, and the only income I can really count on is hubby's. So, and he's got to take care of the house and stuff. So I have to budget too. Exactly. Most women, we have that. It's like a part of us to just, like, come on, let's help each other out, right? That's just, like, in our nature to do that. So, alright, I need green for her. And, where are you, Lucky Green? Mode? No, not mode. Not forest. Wilderness. Twisted citron, you're too bright. Oh, come on now. I know there's a lucky green. Where are you? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Lucky clover is more of a brown, so I'm going to go with mode. Mode lawn. Mode lawn. And I need to find a dauber. Where's my green dauber? Well, if I can't find a green dauber. Ah, there's my green dauber. I was like, where did my green dauber go to? Actually, that might have worked, but that's fine. We're gonna go with the green. Now, she has beautiful eyes, so I'm gonna use glossy accent on her eyes. I also am gonna use it. Well, I'm thinking her wings, but I might just use a glitter stickle on her wings to make them bright and shiny. So, yeah. And I mean, I have a lady that I host raid trains with on Whatnot, and she's from Florida, and we talked about me coming that way and doing like a meet and greet with like a class or something for other Whatnotters in the area that follow. So Florida is definitely in the works. Where is it that you're not in Orlando, are you, Miss Yachty? Where in Florida are you again? I forget. I know you've told me, but I forget. I'm very forgetful. I have to write things down, because I forget a lot. I mean, I will say most of the ladies that were on the cruise were retired, most of them. And I can understand that because it's a lot easier when you're retired, you know, to move and do things. So I get that, you know, be able to join things like that. South Florida. You're in South Florida. Are you close to Miami or Fort Lauderdale? Because I know Orlando is like mid Florida on the East Coast, and Tampa is mid Florida on the West Coast. I know that much. I know that much of my Florida geography. But then after that, the only thing I can think of South Florida is Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Oh, that shows you how much I know. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of my walnut stain, just to kind of like give some more color here to the mushroom portion of it, okay? Right in those spots. I'm not doing anything, you know, crazy per se. Just enough to like accentuate. And then I'm going to use the black around where her hair is so that I can use that. 3 hours from, so kind of towards the Fort Lauderdale and Miami side, because I think they're like, what, 6 hours from, no, they're like 4 hours from Orlando, if I'm not mistaken. See? So that way that looks like all tied together. Alright. Put my inks back where they need to go. Alright. And she's gonna come straight here, because if I do her like this, then, you know, the crowns, I put them all wrong. So I'm thinking she'll look better off if I do it this way. And then I could still find like Lucky or something like that and put it going down the side. So that's what we're going to work on. Alright. Closer to Fort Lauderdale. Okay. So I'm not that lost. I'm a little lost. A little. Not too lost, but a little lost. Okay. So I'm going to put some more glue in here. I'm going to add some water to it. And then I'm going to do a technique that Miss Risa does, where she puts it on the image so that that way there's no you know, gloss fume from the glue. I need to refill that bottle. That's my distilled water. That's all I use in my craft area is distilled water. so that way I don't have stuff growing whenever I add it to you know, a paint or a glue or anything like that, because yeah, it won't take much and you'll have some interesting science experiments happening. So that's my little tidbit there. Use distilled water whenever you're mixing anything, whenever you have to mix water into something, because if not, you know, I know we have a lot of temperature changes here, and that only adds to having some funky stuff grow. So yeah, I'm super excited that I get to meet you in person, Miss Yachty. And Miss Grace. Just all you lovely ladies. I'm super excited. And it's interesting because when I was telling my daughter, she's like, oh, so who's coming? So I was telling her, and she recognizes your names because I talk about you. or I'm listening to you, like on a live or something, and when she comes in. So she's used to a lot of you, and your names and stuff. So she was excited about that. Okay. So now, when I put her down and I reactivate the glue, and I'm leaving a space here, so like I said, so I can put the word lucky on here. Let's see if I can find any chipboard letters that I can spell it out with. And again, I'm using my parchment paper when I'm reheating this. Oh, thank you. I know, right? She's super cute. I forget where I found her. I don't do Pinterest all that much because at times it's hard to get images, or I find it hard to find images to download. So many times it's just a quick Google search, and that's how I find them. Well, hello there, Miss Beatrice. How are you, my friend? So yeah, I am so excited for all the upcoming things. Are you gonna tell me that you're gonna be the same way? Are you not wanting? Why are you not wanting to stick today? How are you doing, dear? So I love my little fairy here with her green dress on. And like I said, I want to include the word lucky. I just have to find some chipboard letters. Yeah, she is not wanting to glue down. What in the world is going on today? I think I might have too much water and not enough glue. It is supposed to be 2 parts glue to 1 part water. I may have too much water in it. So that would be on me for doing my mixture wrong. Yeah, it's just not wanting to work with me today. So yeah, so I don't know what search I did. I don't know if I did something like green fairy or dark fairy. I don't know what search I did. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember anymore. Because I was actually debating if I wanted to do like a full-fledged journal or a journal entry. But I already have a steampunk journal that's in the works. So I was like, I really don't need to add another journal that I need to finish. I was like, that would be too much. So that's why I was like, no, we'll do a craft today. We're gonna do a craft today. And I love to try my very best, if possible, for my crafts to be double-sided so you can get like extra use out of them. And a lot of that goes back to when we were living in our rented space, when we were renting our home, and I didn't have a lot of space to store stuff. So if I created something that was double-sided, I was able to use it longer and have to store it less, right? So that all came out of that necessity for needing to have, you know, the possibility of having cute things out and not have to store as much. Because we used to rent used to live in a mill town, and so the houses are, it's called a shotgun house, which means that you open the front door and you see straight down to the back door, and everything is off to the side. So it was very interesting, I'll put it that way, to have to, the way the layout was. You know, I wasn't used to that, but you make do. That's why for the longest, when I was first actually going live, I was going live and I was crafting on a coffee table in what was our quote-unquote living room, which was the first room as soon as you opened up the door. And they are common in the South from what I understand. I mean, my son currently, he's in the next county over from us, and he lives with his friend, and his friend's house is also in a mill town, an old mill town. Obviously the mills don't exist anymore, but the towns still do. They're considered historical nowadays. And actually, where we used to live, the mill had been converted into lofts and an area where they hosted a lot of weddings. So you'd see people there taking pictures during their wedding days, you know, along the riverside, because the mills were built along where the river was, because it was the water that powered the machinery. I mean, it's a nice area, but not always the best people live in those areas. You do what you gotta do, right? If that's what you can afford, that's what you afford. And that's also how we ended up with so many cats, because there was a plethora of cats in those areas, and we started feeding a lot of the strays. And then you also had people who didn't like the strays, and even though they knew that we were taking care of them, they'd put poison out. So we lost a lot. It made me very, very mad. See how cute she looks? I like it. Now, I want to make her wings sparkly, so instead of using the glossy accents, which just make stuff glossy, I'll use that for her eyes. I'm going to use the fabric, and this is called diamond, so it's going to have the shine of glitter, but it's going to dry clear, so you'll still be able to see the green underneath. Okay, and I just bring this on, and I'm just going to cover all of her wings with this. Trying to avoid where her hair is. And then I'm going to actually bring in, I'm going to see if I can do it with this instead of the, what you call them? Thank you! I appreciate that. Glad you guys like it. I'm excited to see what Miss Wendy does. So Miss Wendy is our last presenter, and she will actually be coming up right after me. So make sure that you stay tuned so that you can see what she is going to be doing. Again, like I said, I'm excited to see, because everybody has done amazing. I'm always so, what's the word, in awe of everybody's talent and where everybody goes with the themes. So I love themed events because they challenge you to have to think, right? So, and I'm gonna see that. So now when this dries, I know right now it looks white, but when it dries, it actually is going to dry clear. So like I said, I like using things like puffy paints, fabric paints, whatever you want to call these. These are amazing for things of this nature. You could use a brush. This is working out for me. And I don't mind that it has like this little bumpy kind of texture that I'm leaving, because guess what? That's gonna add dimension. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, my dear. And all this is paper, right? But we add beautiful things different things to our paper to make it stand out. So when somebody tells you that you can't do something pretty with paper, you can be like, yeah, okay. Yes, you can. Thank you, Mellows. Masterpiece, how are you, friend? It is so nice to see you. Thank you for coming in, dear. Yes, this is just wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful to play with. So the diamond, so there's crystal and diamond. Diamond has iridescent to it. Crystal is more of your, like white, I guess, be the best way to say it. And because of the way her wings are, that's why the diamond's gonna work, okay? Thank you for sprinkling the love, my friend. I really appreciate that. So the iridescent is really gonna work with how these wings are supposed to be all sparkly and stuff. So y'all just wait and see when it's nice and dry how it's gonna look. And I'll definitely have to show y'all so y'all can see what she's gonna look like. But, you know, it won't be tonight, obviously. But if you remind me, next time I'm live, I will gladly show her. So again, up after me is Miss Wendy from Dusty Granny's Crafts by Wendy. And she always has fun things that she does. So I'm excited to see what she's going to create with the theme. Because like I said, everybody's gone a little bit different. Some people chose just a green dress. Some people chose just the green. Some people chose, you know, just St. Patrick's Day. Some people decided to go with the you know, like just the dress. I mean, like there was so many ways for y'all to have played on the theme, and that's kind of why I try to make the themes a little kind of wonky like that, so that you have options. And then I know everybody loves a crafter's choice, so I try to always have one crafter's choice, you know, a month. But yeah, so she's gonna look really cute when she dries up. Really pretty. Alright, I'm gonna have to wash that. And said I'm gonna finish her off with the glossy accents, and we'll do her eyes, and I'll probably do her lips so they pop as well. But I want to thank everybody so much for coming and joining me. This is the frame that I used, okay? So she will go in the frame, right? And then on the back side is, I'm trying not to touch her wings because they're still wet, is the other option. So there'll be two options when looking at this craft right here. All you have to do is pop it up, flip it around, and you've got different options. So super fun, huh? I loved it. Thank you so much for being here again. Love you all. Appreciate you so very much. Thank you for being here and being amazing as always, and supportive of each other. And I really do love that you guys enjoy the events that I host. So thank you so much for that. Hi there, Miss Alicia. And I'm going to say bye because I need to go and find Miss Wendy and get her shared in. Again, she is our last presenter, so make sure that you guys stay tuned and go back and watch everybody if you missed anybody. I love you all, and remember, you are loved, precious, and I'm so grateful for you. Again, thank you.